A little over a month ago, the virus was causing panic, unseemly brawls over the last packet of toilet paper, long lines outside Centrelink as thousands of workers faced abrupt unemployment for the first time, anxiety over schooling and childcare, dropping the drawbridge on the nation's treasure house to meet millions of reduced household budgets. Seismic changes in our everyday living evoked a kind of prehistoric survival of the fittest mentality. TV crews introduced the pervading visual phenomenon of persistent, serial crowded supermarket raids that left the old and weak bereft of buying their daily needs. Where we live, social media came to the rescue. One plaintive voice on an online community platform beseeched us. What is happening to us? Why can't we look out for each other and not just ourselves? In fact, if anyone here wants me to shop for them, I'm available. Other voices chimed in with variations of me too. It spread to other social media platforms and suddenly community was reborn. Neighbours met for the first time, even if only virtually. Burdens were shared. Streets identified elderly and vulnerable who had no online access, and they letter dropped them. Systems were established to make sure that no one went without help. Our text this morning says, "When he has brought out all his own, he goes ahead of them, and the sheep follow him because they know his voice." We are so used to hearing the words of John's Gospel in a binary way. It's either or rather than both and. It is significant that the Good Shepherd theme features in this season of Easter on the journey towards its culmination at Pentecost. We are reflecting on what it means to be living as Easter people. Those who live not only with an orientation towards empowered, death-defeating life, but with the dynamic presence of the Good Shepherd within community in its gathered state and in its scatteredness. This means the voice of the Good Shepherd can be discerned in you and in me and in the stranger. We know his voice. The text goes on to say, the thief comes only to steal and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. Referring to Jesus, of course. A binary approach to John's Gospel has led us to believe that the shepherd's voice can only be heard within the four walls of our centuries of Christian tradition. A holistic approach opens our ears to hear the shepherd's voice throughout the cosmos. This is the overall Eucharistic celebration throughout John's Gospel. It is a thanksgiving. It is gratitude for the ability to discern the core understanding that God sent his Son into the world, not to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. That is, made complete, made whole. Where else then might we hear the shepherd's voice? Dare I suggest, wherever there is caring community. Throughout the ages, the church has always been at its best where it has carried the basin and the towel of service, promoting and enhancing community, sometimes initiating and planting community from its very beginning, at other times entering existing community and celebrating and enhancing it. In such ways, the Good Shepherd becomes known and his voice is recognised. Many have come to recognise the Good Shepherd's voice in that concept of kanyini that I mentioned earlier on in the service. The word that has been given to us by the Pitjantjatjara Jarrah people of Central Australia. We're told that the word kanyini means responsibility and unconditional love for all of creation, and it envelops the four key principles of Indigenous life. First, the creation period, what some of us call the dream time. It embraces the principle of the spirit, what we Westerners call the soul, the psyche, the idea of family and kinship, connectedness, and also connectedness to land, to home, to place, the mother concept that's embraced in the land where one is born. Kanyini, however, is best expressed in English as the combination of the two words responsibility and love. But it is actually a relationship. It is an enormous caring with no limit. It has no time frame. It is eternal. And it's explained to us that our purpose is to live with Kanyini principles of unconditional, unlimited love. Do we hear the Good Shepherd's voice in Kanyini? It strikes me that the ancient wisdom of many First Nations peoples around the world carries something of the Kanyini principle. It pulls on a yearning within Western civilizations for something known, yet lost and elusive. The experience of real community. I recall the story of a teacher on a mission station in Africa, tearing his hair out at a children's sport meeting. He was attempting to organise foot races. In something like the 100-yard dash, the children would persistently cross the finishing line together. No one was first, no one was second, no one was third. Importantly, no one was last. They all crossed the line together. Ubuntu. I am because we are. The thought of competition and individual superiority was impossible for them. If the task is to run and cross that finish line, we do it together and we don't leave anyone behind. Do we hear the Good Shepherd's voice in Ubuntu? Archbishop Desmond Tutu popularised this word in the Truth and Reconciliation Quest. A person with Ubuntu, he said, is open and available to others, affirming of others, does not feel threatened that others are able and good, based from a proper self-assurance that comes from knowing that he or she belongs in a greater whole and is diminished when others are humiliated or diminished, when others are tortured or oppressed. There are variations of Ubuntu through the African continent. I encountered its humble presence when visiting remote rural communities in Zimbabwe a few years ago. The care for one another in circumstances of extreme poverty and privation, the sharing of meagre resources, was an affront to the predatory and self-serving forces that prevailed in other parts of the country and indeed which is the hallmark of our own society. Where do we hear the Good Shepherd's voice in our own communities? Parker Palmer speaks of the hidden wholeness in a broken world, referring to Thomas Merton's reflection that our discerning eye can detect it beneath the damaged surface of things, whether it's a broken political system, a broken relationship, or a broken heart. Or dare I say, maybe a broken community. Did our suburb, through social media, discover its hidden wholeness as it confronted the supermarket wars? Merton observes, there is in all visible things an invisible fecundity, a dimmed light, a meek namelessness, a hidden wholeness. This mysterious unity and integrity is wisdom, the mother of all. And dare we add, the Good Shepherd's voice. Amen.